Vyrah, reporting for duty. Another time together. We are gonna do some React. What does it mean? I'm gonna watch my usual YouTube videos, but with you, and I'll get to the therapy about like why the fuck do I get into these philosophical like YouTube videos that leaves me as a broken man. I don't know, but helps a lot to tell you about it because no one else I have no one else better than you, stranger, to fucking like hear about it, hear about my opinions about it. So yeah, let's get into it, shall we? All right. All right. All right. So to start off, I've seen the strangest thing after my own fate. League of Legends trailer, like they do this stuff like these days. Trailer for League of Legends. I don't know if it's for a new product or let's just discover. But like it is, I was like, you'll see like the name and everything. Like everything is, it's like, is this for the TV show? What does it mean? Can you tell me, please? League of Legends official, the story so far, 2025 trailer. Mysterious because what the fuck? When you write stuff, putting words in certain orders actually creates certain meanings, right? This is the basic of writing. Thank you so much. I know I just reminded everyone that life is complicated, okay? But like League of Legends official, the story so far 2025 trailer. This is a sentence that like will probably be studied by historians in the future, and they'll be like, what the fuck did Riot means when they fucking like wrote this? I don't know. You don't know. We don't know. Historians in the future will struggle to understand. What we'll know is what it means. So let's check it out. And yeah.
Every new path seems to lead us closer to chaos.
Piltover was a lesson. Calamity is always approaching.
Perhaps we should focus on the opportunity that's washed up on our shores.
Besides, you have no host.
Unforeseen turns are simply part of any path. Our next move must be bolder.
My name is Xin Zhao, Seneschal of Demacia. This sapling bloomed in the royal gardens, where none should grow. Its presence gave me no peace. So after 30 years, I have returned to the lands of my birth, seeking answers.
You know the tale of the devoted shrine maiden, Xin Zhao. You should hear the story behind it.
Leaderless and lost, war between the Darkin became inevitable. Ionia was just another battleground among many. Some of us prayed to the shrine spirits for deliverance, and that was when he came to us. His name was Zehen. When the war was over, we returned in victory. But something had changed in Zehen. He could feel his humanity ebbing away, and feared what he might eventually become capable of. And so he asked to be bound like the others.
If you crave freedom, Otacon, then tell me where the darkened weapon lies.
The first lands.
Ionia is but a doorway.
Yunara, what has happened?
He says he experienced a dark vision.
I saw Demacia in ruins.
Someone knows the truth. They mean to freeze a hen.
Okay, so I am understanding that apparently, so it is like the story within League of Legends, or like a separate game within it. So sadly enough, it doesn't look like we get some new like I hoped. I saw Arcane, I watched Arcane, I love Arcane. I hoped it was like something more, like some TV show or some related. But like, happy for you, League of Legends players. Like, the people from the suicide hotline will probably get to hear less from you when this patch gets released. So yeah, like this is really nice. This is really nice. I hope like the story is interesting, and yeah, not a League of Legends player, just another chronically depressed depressed individual believing that is interesting enough to be existing within any type of reality. Okay, let's keep going. By the way, I need to check. Okay, let's keep going. By the way, I need to check anyway. Let me just like do myself the favor of I'm actually like quite serious about like being a professional. So professional on what? A professional soccer. Like all right, one. This is done. This is done. This is done. Okay. And okay. 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 So, yeah. No, actually, it wasn't. So, new trailer, PlayStation 5, Lulan, the Cursed Land. The Cursed Land. No clue. Maybe it's good. Maybe it's not. It's probably decent. No, I really don't fucking know. Like on this one. Let's check it out. Okay. Okay, this seems promising. This seems promising. Hack and slash Lulan, the curse of Lulan. Hack and slash Diablo asymmetric hack and slash. This is interesting. The only problem that I see, do you want to know the only problem that I see? Is that it's fucking PS5. Like, it can be interesting, but like if you show such an interesting project in such a category, release it on fucking fucking PC. Like look at this like action and tell yourself like wonderful world building. The fights are looking like absolutely like really absolutely devastating to just like enjoy, and then you tell yourself everything that you see here, you'll have to play it with a fucking controller. You get me? And this actually takes away a lot, because like imagine keyboard mouse, right? The typical hack and slash experience. Yeah, cool as fuck, right? Now, do you know anyone like who tell you who played like Diablo or Path of Exile and was like, yeah, I started with like keyboard and mouse, and then I switched to I fucking switched to controller, because I felt it was like a more it was better for me. No one fucking ever said that, and that's the problem. Where it's like it will. I really wish for this game to be successful, because like it is quite interesting. The level design, the character design, the bosses seems to be like really interesting, but at the same time it's like mechanical problems are mechanical problems, and you cannot like tell me, oh yeah. Not allowing like keyboard and mouse on such an interesting project is not a mistake, right? I don't know. I just find it overall like releasing it on multiple consoles is not a problem. Releasing it on only one controller like console is. So yeah, it is interesting. The game makes me want to play it. So, but yeah, it happens. We'll see what it means. We'll see what it means. Doesn't mean that like it's completely done, right? Just means that like really could have chosen like choose to have an easier way to actually like deal with to promote their games. But after that, like there are like also like the contracts that like the game publisher get with like PlayStation, Xbox, and this is also why sometimes they're released like this. So I won't give too much hate to the developers. Like sometimes it's just because like the contract is is with Sony and not and so it is allow the game to be released on Steam, you know. So who cares? No one. The game looks good. The game looks good, and this is what matters. The game looks fun. All right. Okay, I have found the strangest anime trailer ever. Tatsuki Fujimoto. Tatsuki Fujimoto is the name of the the artist, the legend behind Fire Punch, but you will know him more for his work as the mangaka who wrote Chainsaw Man, right? And he gets an anime, this documentary. I don't know, let's check it out. I'm really fascinated because like on this one, no clue. Like the name is Tetsuki Fujimoto, 1726, and it looks like an anime. Maybe I'm guessing it's a documentary. Like let's check it out. I'm actually really curious to know to understand what it means.
高校に入るまでは
Alright.
キモ高校に入るまでは可愛い妹だった絵下手だし言っても無駄でしょ
下手じゃないよ。
下手だよ美術学校なんかに入らなきゃよかっただけど妹よ
ナユタは俺の妹だ
そのもの人の心を持たず。
にゃ
ナユタはみんなとは世界の見え方が違うのかもな
断絶拷問絶絶。
殺したのか
意味がわからねえ。何なんですかあなたは。
何をしても
します。
セックス嫌だ未来なんて見たこともないくせに
童貞のままいつか死ぬ。
みんな死んでしまいます。
そうだ共に走るぞ
一緒に逃げようよ。
君たちを助けたいだけなんだ助けるってあいつに会いたい
会えてよかった
気持ちは同じなんだ。
人魚は人間を食べることがある。それでも
男なら
男のくせに
女の子だわ。かっこいい。
なんだろう。
なんでだろう。
なぜだろう
苦しい。
胸が痛くなるのは
要するに
なんて言えばいいんだ
辛い。
この気持ちはそれはきっと
私
俺は
私は
俺は
僕は私も。
俺は僕は
It's so we get oh no way. So it's so basically there is an anime or like there is like a work that is done and you release it. There is no way. This is really good. This is really good news. If you love Chainsaw Man, this is such a good news because basically, like another of his project has been greenlit for it to be actually like fucking to be something. And look at how it looks. God damn! Like look at this fucking scene. What the fuck is going on? Like this is good. This is really a good news. Tatsuki Fujimoto. Oh, god damn. What the fuck? This is really interesting. I don't even want to know what it's about. I want to discover it when it gets released. God damn it. This is art. This is art. Like you can see that this is art so much that like the dude released a TV show. He names it after himself. What a fucking like legend, this man. Okay, like really excited. We'll get more news soon. 7 November. But wait, it gets released like. It gets released in less than a week. Like, it gets released like soon. What the fuck? This is actually really good. Okay. Okay, this is interesting. This is really interesting. Okay. Okay.
It's hard to find other.
Okay, let's watch. Okay, I found like something interesting, really interesting. My boy Matt Season, if you didn't subscribe to Matt Season, subscribe to Matt Season. Give this man money. This man is quite is really cool. Like, you get to, especially if you love World of Warcraft, like this man, this dude is doing God's work. Check it out. So why do people play MMORPGs solo? Some people that I know are playing like RPGs or like social games in general, completely solo, never search for like anything. This is interesting. A couple of people talked about it. I'm really curious to listen to the opinion and to the expose of Matt Season about this.
Mad Season here, back with another. Hey guys, what's up? Mad Season here, back with another video for you. There are two types of MMO players. People who play only because their friends are playing, and the solo player. This is quite a divisive topic, but having recently jumped into old school RuneScape with the challenge of trying to complete every quest blind, through the rules of the challenge, I of course have to take a very solo, single player oriented approach as to avoid any sort of help or spoilers. And I've brought up some discussion on my channel about solo play in MMOs, whether that be people who are simply curious as to how I can enjoy such a social genre of game solo, or even as far as people saying I'm playing it incorrectly. So today I'd like to tackle the subject of solo play in the MMORPG genre, because I'm certainly not the only one. So the MMORPG is a very social genre of game, one of the most social possible, in the sense that much of the content in the game you can't even access solo. You have this PvP mode, which requires a full team. The high-end rating requires not only other people, but also direct communication in order to overcome the challenges.
Yeah, and sometimes like vocal communication that is not like allowed in game, that you need to have a Discord for, so someone with a Discord server and stuff like that, which is like, you think it's easy? I think that like back then, when people used to have TeamSpeak, it was easier to connect with people rather than now, just because of how busy life became, you know? Like,
or maybe to make this weapon you need a crafting reagent from another class, and the list goes on and on. It is true that the entire genre and its systems are largely designed with the thought in mind that they're to be experienced on a multiplayer basis, and it's been one of its biggest selling points, perhaps the entire reason to play them. Taking an objective look at it, the general gameplay of the MMO is very grindy and tedious, but because of the simple fact that it's multiplayer, everything is amplified and made to be more appealing. I've always said that with World of Warcraft's worldwide adoption in the 2000s, it became one of the very first forms of social media. A lot of people don't think of it like that, but I think it's true. You have these online communities, you have these cliques that form, drama that happens, these fads that start, guilds, social hierarchies, and you can always shitpost about politics with random strangers on the internet and, you know, threaten to kill them if they disagree with you. So it has all of the ingredients.
The typical, we're gonna sweat you if you don't come to the raid. You don't come to the raid, we're gonna sweat you. Come to the raid. You wanna see the sweat? Sweat team. Come to the raid. Not for real. I've got it's one call away. So you come to the raid, or you get swept. You don't want to get spotted, right? So you come to the raid. Nice.
Radiance, because again, it is a very social game. But yet, even still, the game is filled with players who are guildless, their friends list is empty, and their only chat message is a typo that they didn't mean to send. So the question is, why? What is the appeal of playing this very social genre of game, but yet still interacting with very little to none of its players? Well, as it turns out, there are many reasons, starting in no particular order with the fact that a lot of it just comes down to having the option. And even if you choose to not interact with other players, their existence still adds value to your gameplay. And I think the best way to explain this is with a question. What's more appealing to you to play? An MMO world populated with other people of different classes, skill sets, abilities, and interests from across the world, or the same MMO on a private server where it's just you and only you? In a vacuum, for someone who doesn't really interact with anyone else, the answer is, well, it doesn't really matter, because, well, what's the difference if you're not going to interact with anyone? But yet still, for most people, this first option is much more appealing. So why is that? Well, it's because even if you don't interact with people, having the option to, and just having them in your world, adds value to your gameplay experience. MMORPG.
This is absolutely true. Even if you do not get like but it is true only like I think that like when it comes to certain genres, this takes true, but it doesn't have the same meaning. Whereas like let's say in League of Legends or Defense of the Ancients, Dota, well, basically you get the same option to always be able to interact with players, but it's not the same because like usually the interaction are like mostly like during times where like, well, it's more about like exchanging like information to try to win rather than being just have the occasion to talk randomly to strangers and to actually socialize with them, take part on a little adventure with them, you know. So but it is right, yeah.
These are massively multiplayer, and they're also RPGs, a genre of game which is built upon many pillars, one of the most major being character progression. And while in single-player RPGs, it can be quite rewarding to watch the story unfold and to see your character grow in power, one of the core pillars of the MMO RPG is that all of this progression is relative. This is especially true in the more theme park-oriented games, but your gear set is only as powerful as everyone else's on your server. Your mount is only rare because it's relatively rare on your server within your community. And
yeah, this was the case in the past. Now it's more like it's just rare in the globality of the server, you know, in the globality of the game. But times change, you know.
The same can be said with everything, whether that be levels, PvP rank, raid progression, achievement point systems, collections, and so on. And even if you don't interact with them, having the option to is still valuable and comforting. It just kind of taps into the core social nature that we have as humans. A lot of games have recognized this at this point, and they've implemented these seemingly pointless lobby-based hubs into their games. The game itself might rely on primarily a solo, or at most a limited few-player co-op experience, but yet still you have these areas and hubs where you can see strangers doing their own thing. You can't really interact with them directly, which leads many to the question of, well, what's the point of this? Well, the point is to tap into this fundamental social part of ourselves that lies within every person. And
you feel less lonely playing in these worlds, even if you never interact with other people. Just saying that like other people are living their own journey, and this is a quite important like thing when it comes to like MMOs, is that like well, if you get the chance, it makes like the world more alive, and it makes your I will say that like it's some sort of social anxiety. Well, like you see this huge world and you're by yourself in it, having fun in it, you know. Well, when you play in an MMO, you see this huge world and you see other people like enjoying it, and this changes a lot when it comes to like dynamics of like motivation and dynamics of just like self-enjoyment, because you do not feel in a forgotten lands where like only you are the living person in here, right?
Maybe a little sprinkle of the bandwagon appeal where we assign value to a thing based on other people doing that same thing. But getting back to MMOs here, again, emphasizing this shared experience even if you don't directly interact with someone. Although it is true that the genre has become less social over the years, and we'll talk about that more later, it has been one of the major draws of the genre from the beginning, is that you are in this shared online world, and things that you do affect other players, and things that other players do affect you. That's an appealing trait. It's a much more dynamic and changing environment that's
absolutely
in your conventional single-player RPG or on a private server of your favorite MMO. So point number one.
Yeah, and it's something also that you cannot find in FPS games, online FPS games, online MOBA games, where the problem is like you see other people enjoy. Yeah, but like it's not a journey. They enjoy the same like challenging moment of competition between each other, and not this like more steady journey where like you have your slowly paced like adventure, and they have like their own like story going on while you play, you know. It's not the same dynamics, it's not the same like logic.
That even if you're not directly interacting with other players, their presence has value and impact on your personal experience, which leads us into perhaps an obvious but still important point: dynamic experience and change. MMOs are still largely unique in the sense that, barring some sort of catastrophic scenario forcing a shutdown, they're RPGs without end. Think of your favorite RPG ever made. The story's perfect, characters are perfect, gameplay, minigames, world, every.
I am perfect as well in my favorite RPG. Like the way I play is perfect. My achievements are perfect. I'm the best. Okay, I'm the best. Listen to that. I'm the best. All right. You didn't thought? I'm actually I'm struggling so much in these games.
Everything from start to finish and every corner is what the kids these days would say is cinema, except for one thing: the fact that it ends. And eventually you see all that there is to see. And while some players love them so much that the first thing they do after finishing it is to start a new file, or perhaps speedrunning it, for most of the player base, it's the end of the road, which brings us to, again, another core pillar of the MMO, is that it's, of course, continuously updated.
Yeah, there is like this this idea, like everyone heard this. You go to the cinema to watch a movie, and the movie moves you so much that like you get out of the cinema and you're like, oh damn, about my own personal life I completely forgot, because I was so invested in the story that in this movie that I was watching. Well, basically, some video games that do this, and MMOs that don't, they allow for you to not have this. God damn, this was such a beautiful experience. I wish it didn't end like abruptly like this, because like there's two small depressions, you know, like you see with this movie, and then you get out of the cinema and you're like, God damn. And then you feel kind of like depressed for just because of how immersed you were in this in the story, you know, in your life. compared to that, like it's not that it sucks or like that like you're a failure, like it's just like it's moved you in a way that like really made you feel something that you really desired to feel, that you really didn't expect it to love so much, and to be cut out of this feeling so abruptly, you know.
The finish line is perpetually dangled in front of you like a carrot on a stick. Content in all corners of the game is constantly added for every type of player, whether that be the high-end raiders or PvPers or skillers, farmers, or questers. And with the genre being as old as it is now, another thing that's important to consider is that not only as the game changes, it's also the players. So a lot of the times it's simply a case of people finding a game that they like, and while they used to be more social, these days they're just less so. It's pretty common as people age and they establish their friends groups and so on.
It's more that like the gaming landscape has changed, and the way people socialize is not as innocent as it was before.
That they become less social in general, but yet still over the course of years or decades, the game itself has become this sort of comfort activity for them. It's a relatively consistent part of their routine that they can immerse themselves into and enjoy this familiar world, yet still with new, unfamiliar things being developed into them every day. And that's where their focus and comfort lies. It's more in the gameplay and the world rather than the individual people who inhabit it. Although, again, they're still important. Speaking of comfort, social interaction is rewarding and as fun as it might be, can also be draining. One of the many reasons why people can become less social as they age is that friendships and relationships do take a certain amount of commitment. If you fail to maintain them, they can eventually fade. And as the player base gets older and more responsibilities are being piled into our laps,
yeah, it's also like that people like tend to forget that like MMORPGs are quite a fucking like time investment, and it's like, yeah, people leave. You know why? It's instant, like how much commitment like an MMO can allow you to have, you know, like. But it's sad. It's sad because it is this good to have like to be and to play with your friends in an MMO.
The idea of making new friends can become less appealing in the context of the MMO in terms of the higher end stuff like raiding. This means being available at certain hours of the day, on certain days of the week, and not only that, but also to perform well in your role so you're not dragging your team down, which is even more time of studying your class, rotations, boss mechanics, PvP matchups, and that's all fine if that's naturally appealing to you and that's what you want out of your experience. But what's undeniable is that it's a commitment, which means reduced freedom. So you can also see the flip side and understand just why a player might feel less social in that way. It's just nice sometimes to turn your brain off and dive into this comforting, familiar world with the option to interact with other people if you wish. However, with no obligations to do so other than your pure free will. Again, kind of getting back into the idea of getting value from the shared world even if you don't directly interact with the people in it, while at the same time having the freedom to play as long as you want, as little as you want, as intensely as you want, or as casually as you want. Next we have Occam's razor. The most simple solution is usually the culprit, and some people are just introverted, which is fine. I don't think it's quite elite to say that gaming can draw a rather...
You know what? This Occam raises their argument that people are just introvert. Didn't saw it coming. It is brilliant that he actually like just tells you, yeah, people are introverts. That's why. Wow, the Matt Season is really good at what he does. He's really passionate on this one. Like, it just shocked me by how clever what he said is. Yeah, some people are just introverts, man. I would have thought about it in a couple month cycles, to be honest. Like,
introverted crowd. It's a hobby that you can...
I don't think I'd ever like came to this conclusion about why some people don't socialize in MMOs. I got them. It helps to have like a different perspective, you know, when it comes to your passions.
By yourself at a base level that doesn't really require any type of social commitment. And MMOs are very appealing to introverts because they're a very casual way of getting some form of social interaction. It's a genre that can attract a lot of introverted people, and the thing about introverts is that sometimes, well, a lot of the times they just want to do their own thing, which again is fine, and I'm speaking as an introvert here. Sometimes they'll engage with others if they want, but a lot of the times they're just grinding XP with Netflix and the other monitor, or listening to some monotone fuck who's obsessed with MMOs. And next, we also have the fact that the genre today is just made to be more single-player oriented.
This is true as well.
This particular subject...
Yeah, this is true as well, and this is a good part of MMOs because, like, as someone who my favorite game and what will always be my favorite game will be World of Warcraft. Do you know how much joy it brings me that like new players can come in and have their like adventure within like my favorite world and my favorite game without ever needing like this much like social without ever needing to be socially dependent on someone else, and they get to enjoy all the stories that I enjoyed, and they get to enjoy all the gameplay that I enjoyed without ever having to bother someone and feel bothering someone, that they bother, feeling that they are like a bother to someone just because they need to do some to progress on their own like on their own like story, you know.
Itself is its own whole thing that's probably video worthy. We'll just get into it a little bit here, but it's undeniable that the MMO today, compared to its formative years, is a far less social experience. Just using World of Warcraft here for an example, since that's what most everyone is familiar with. You of course have things like dungeon finders, raid finders, group quests being phased out, mob tag sharing, trade skills interacting through work orders instead of direct trades and communication, and even things such as AI teammates. And this is the source of a lot of frustration for some people. I mentioned earlier, this is quite a divisive topic, and this is one of the main reasons.
Yeah, but like by now, like the spectrum of customers within like games such as like Final Fantasy or World of Warcraft is so large and varied that like, yeah, it's a problem for others. Yeah, but like it doesn't constitute some sort of majority because of how rich the spectrum of different types of players is within World of Warcraft or Final Fantasies this day.
Is that developers a lot of the times can cater to these solo players in destructive ways instead of providing ample solo experiences. Sometimes they take what were once cornerstone features of the social nature of the game and mold and transform them to be more accessible for the solo player at the cost of the game's social atmosphere. And while all of that is understandable, I think that the frustration is ultimately misplaced. You know, it's the developer's job to understand the genre like the back of their penis, and because it's a multiplayer game, that any small change they make can have this huge butterfly effect. There's a very tricky and special balance and understanding not only of the genre of the game that you're working on, but also the ever-changing player base who plays it. It's far from an easy job, but you know, that's what they're paid to do. And even then, a lot of it is out of their control due to things such as the previously mentioned aging, less social player base, or things like everything surrounding the game stifling its social atmosphere. I think that people can tend to get tunnel visioned on the game itself and its design, and sort of neglect the fact that everything surrounding the game has also changed. I mentioned earlier that World of Warcraft was one of the first forms of social media back in 2004.
Yeah, I made so many friends back then, and in World of Warcraft. It's such a shame that I always was a kid that like like to like just like keep on reinventing myself and like just like tell myself fuck everything, fuck everyone, I'm gonna like start a new life. And then I lost all these contacts. I don't even have like memories of that man, friend. Like such a shame. It's life, but it's such a shame.
Yeah, back in 2004, which was still when the genre was largely undiscovered, and over the course of the past 20 years, the player base has become increasingly more and more familiar with the genre itself as well as each specific game. They're more skilled, they're more knowledgeable. Third-party database websites and social media platforms have full guides of new features and class rotations and optimized play before they're even released. So one of the reasons why there are so many solo players today is because the world outside of the game has removed reasons for it to be social. It's sort of sucked them out like a vampire. For every person who finds an optimal class rotation on YouTube, that's one less person asking in general chat how to increase their DPS, which removes a critical opportunity for social interaction. For every person that's chatting in a class Discord, that's one less person chatting in the game. So again, if we're trying to pin blame on people and on these solo players for having a negative effect on the social atmosphere of the game, you can see it's a very complicated situation with
Yeah, it's a complicated situation that is has way too many actors to just like back then it was more easy to pinpoint and to just like being able to target to just like notice what does what, who is what, like what type of actors do what. Like now it is, and luckily enough it is rich enough where it's like so much stuff is going on. If you only knew. We know what it means kind of like to the game and to the social aspect of the game, but to be honest, like we are like it became like too rich and too complex to be able to just like have problems that are like solvable because if this happens then do so. And no, now it's just like, but it's because like of how great in the community is and how rich it is, how numerous it is, how big it is, how numbered it is, whatever.
Many things to consider. So it just doesn't feel all that fair to point the finger at the boomer who just wanted to log in, turn their brain off, and farm some mud crabs outside of Relica after a long day of work, while he watches his kids and tries to keep them from swallowing Legos and painting the dog so his wife doesn't divorce him. But all this being said, solo players are still a core and integral part of the MMORPG genre due to the simple fact that they exist. Them playing and being in the world and being a part of it adds value to everyone's experience, even other solo players, and even if they never speak a single word or interact with one another. I myself have been on both sides of the fence. At the very start, I mentioned the two types of players, the soloer and the person who only plays when they have friends on. And at first I was really introverted until eventually I made friends and I joined a guild, at which point I was on the opposite end of the spectrum and I would really only play when my friends were playing. Oh. And now today, I would say I'm kind of leaning more towards into solo play, as MMOs are definitely a comfort activity for me. I do think that both types of players are uniquely...
Plus how my friends have quit. No wonder. For you, same here.
...important to the genre in their own way, and I hope that this video helped the more social players see the different side of things, and hopefully for the more solo-oriented players, maybe this helped you articulate the reasons why you play this way if you didn't really think about it as autistically as I have. But let me know what you think. I like making these MMO videos because they always spark interesting discussions in the comments. Let me know if you have anything to add or if I missed anything.
I have something to add. Subscribe to Matt Season Show. Look at this videos. He is quite the man, the legend, the myth. yeah, it does really good content. If you love World of Warcraft, like just give this give this dude a chance to fucking like rock your world, you know. Like he is quite it is such a chill experience to just like enjoy what he does, enjoy who he is, you know. So yeah.
Raid encounters in WoW have grown more complex with every
Okay.
Raid encounters in WoW have grown more complex with every.
Let's watch some Irmared decks. I love this YouTuber. Really chill YouTuber. If you love World of Warcraft, subscribe. Leave this man a like. He really does like an honest job that is really like enjoyable. So let's check out top 10 red bosses that were the first of their kind. Really curious to see that.
Every expansion. But some bosses didn't just follow trends, they created them. And in this video, we're going to go over some raid bosses that were the first to introduce mechanics or design philosophies that changed how future encounters were built.
This is interesting.
And at number 10, we have Blackwater Behemoth, found in the Internal Palace raid from Battle for Azeroth, which was the third boss of the instance, and one of the most mechanically distinct encounters in modern WoW. The raid itself was set in the drowned city of Nashatar and dealt heavily with Naga and aquatic corruption themes. But Blackwater Behemoth took this aesthetic one step further. The fight was the first raid encounter to fully commit to an underwater environment, where players had to swim, manage 3D positioning, and deal with water-based hazards across multiple aquatic platforms. The boss itself remained.
This is actually surprising that it took like until Battle for Azeroth for this to happen, don't you think? Like, I find it surprising, like, don't you think? Battle for Azeroth, first underwater raid boss. I thought it would have been like, it would have been made like a long time ago.
Mostly stationary, but the movement between platforms forced the raid to coordinate as they swam past electric jellyfish and timed bioluminescence in order to not get eaten. While underwater mechanics have been used in dungeons and world content before, raid fights had largely avoided them due to the historically clunky movement and targeting systems underwater. Blackwater Behemoth challenged this stigma by making swimming not just a theme, but a core mechanic. Although reception was mixed, and many players finding underwater physics difficult to manage, it paved the way for Blizzard to experiment further with terrain-specific mechanics, like moving through fog in Castle Nathria, or shifting elevation phases in fights like Raszageth. Blackwater Behemoth may not have started a trend, but it broke a long-standing design taboo, proving that most avoided mechanics could be viable in a raid setting with proper structure, and of course attaching them to an easy boss that's not that hard. And at number 9,
yeah, I think that this is also like really important to not like create this like complete impossible encounter, but like with a new type of like with clunky or awkward type of like movement mechanic.
we have Kel'Thas Sunstrider, the final boss of Tempest Keep in the Burning Crusade. Kel'Thas wasn't just
that is the coolest boss that was done by almost no one. This
just a charismatic lore character. He was a structural innovation in raid design. The fight against Kel'Thas was one of the first raid encounters to feel like a multi-act narrative experience, divided into 3 distinct phases that challenged every aspect of a raid's group's capabilities. The encounter begins with players fighting 4 of Kel'Thas' advisors, each one with their own dangerous mechanics. Then comes a phase where legendary weapons drop, which players must equip and use for the remainder of the fight. The subsequent stages include simultaneous ad reactivations, flying phases, and Kel'Thas himself warping reality with a gravity lapse. This was the first time a raid boss featured an encounter that felt like a mini dungeon in of itself, a sequence of escalating challenges rather than a single cohesive rotation. Importantly, it was also the first to give players new tools, the legendary weapons, mid-fight, and require that they adapt to new mechanics using unfamiliar resources. Later bosses would borrow heavily from Kel'Thas' format. Yogg-Saron and Ulduar used phase insanity mechanics and unique ad sequences. Lei Shen and Throne of Thunder offered power distribution decisions across several stages. Even more recently, bosses like Anduin Wrynn and Sepulchre of the first ones incorporated story phases and toolkits that temporarily changed gameplay. Kel'Thas' fight structure was revolutionary for its time. For better or for worse, it introduced a model of raid design where a boss encounter could become an entire experience rather than just a singular event. And at number 8, we have Archimonde, the final boss of the Battle for Mount Hyjal raid in the Burning Crusade. And while the raid itself was built around wave-based trash gauntlets, Archimonde stood out for introducing a groundbreaking concept: forced player agency through personal responsibility mechanics. At the time, most raid mechanics were binary. You either succeeded as a group or failed as a group. Archimonde disrupted the model with a single spell, Airburst. This ability launched individual players into the air, and they were required to use a unique item, the Tears of the Goddess, to slow fall before hitting the ground. Forgetting or mistiming this action resulted in instant death, with no possibility of rescue by others. This design was among the first to place the burden of survival entirely on the individual.
This is interesting, and this is like the type of encounter that like probably broke some guilds, because people were like, actually, like, now that we think of you like the fucking hunter, why are you so bad at the game? Get the fuck away from here.
Making each player accountable for their reaction time and awareness. It also encouraged strategic item management in a way that hadn't seen before. The legacy of this approach can be seen in numerous later fights. Mythic Kill Jaden's soak assignments and even the Jailer's ball mechanics all force individual players to act correctly or else wipe the entire raid. By making every raider personally accountable, he pushed encounters away from passive execution and towards skill-based interaction. And at number 7, we have Vye React, the final boss of Trial of Crusader and Wrath of the Lich King. And while the raid is often criticized for its lack of visual diversity, Vye React introduced one of the most influential tanky mechanics of its time, the concept of active healing absorption as a damage enrage. The fight included a unique twist on the healing metagame. Instead of the boss becoming stronger over time via traditional buffs or phases, Vye React periodically applied a debuff to the raid that caused healing to become a liability. Specifically, his Leeching Swarm leached a percentage of your team's current health, meaning that overhealing or topping players off too aggressively would actively harm the group. This mechanic forced healers to completely rethink their normal strategies. Managing health thresholds, timing heals, and coordinating cooldowns became essential to not only survival, but preventing wipe conditions. For the first time, healing too much was just as dangerous as healing too little. This design had ripple effects. Fights like Chimeron and Blackwing Descent and Mythic Ursock and Emerald Nightmare played with similar health management principles. Later still, bosses like Mythic Sledgefish punished overhealing by tying boss power to player HP values. Vye React took what was previously seen as a support role and made it central to encounter success. It wasn't just a DPS or tanking race, it was a healing puzzle where the normal instinct to save everyone could backfire catastrophically. And at number 6, we have the Spine of Deathwing, the penultimate encounter of the Dragon Soul Raiding Cataclysm, which presented players with a boss fight unlike anything that came before. The fight took place on Deathwing's back, as the raid attempted to rip the armor-plating shield off of his corrupted body. The core mechanic revolved around balancing damage, movement, and adds, while Deathwing barrel rolled through the air. Players had to anchor themselves during rolls by grouping together, or risk being flung into the maelstrom below. Simultaneously, they had to manage multiple types of adds, including amalgamations, that required precise explosion timing and corruption tentacles that punished slow reactions. Spine was the first fight to use the physical environment itself as a critical mechanic. The boss wasn't an enemy you stood in front of and damaged. It was a setting that responded to player movement and behavior. It introduced dynamic spatial visibility as a primary threat. The model was later echoed in fights like Blackhand and Blackrock Foundry, who transitioned across multiple destructible levels. Even Halandrus and Sepulchre of the first ones borrowed the concept of multi-stage physical space traversal as a mechanic. Though controversial in execution, many players found the fight overly repetitive or dependent on class-specific burst damage.
Yeah, the Spine of Deathwing, like Deathwing in general, was quite I don't know. It was quite a disappointing fight, at least on my part, and like, I don't know.
Spine of Deathwing marked the beginning of Blizzard treating bosses as environments and not just targets. It demonstrated that the very ground beneath a raid group could become both ally and adversary depending on how it was used. And at number 5, we have Ishkar the Unscarred, who was a mid-raid boss in Hellfire Citadel, the final raid of Warlords of Draenor. Though not a final boss, Ishkar left a lasting impression due to one key mechanic that set it apart: targeted player interaction via external item control, specifically the Eye of Anzu. During the fight, the raid had to manage a unique debuff cleansing item that passed manually between players. Whoever held the Eye of Anzu could remove specific debuffs or interact with shadow-based mechanics that would otherwise wipe the group. The catch? Only one person could hold it at a time, and it had to be thrown manually like a baton from player to player in real time. This was the first encounter where an item-based responsibility was deliberately rotated throughout the raid in a structured mechanic. Unlike other fights where individual roles were fixed, such as tanks or designated interrupt players, Ishkar required raid-wide awareness and trust, since any member might be next in the chain. Future fights would iterate on this idea. Star Augur and Nighthold had planetary orbs, debuff zones that had to be coordinated across roles. Mythic Jaina and Battle for Dazara lore used water orbs and fire stacks that required precise player communication to handle responsibility handoffs. Anduin Rin's fight reintroduced a structured item mechanic with hope buffs during the intermission phase. Ishkar pioneered the design of group mechanics where control and responsibility dynamically shifted across players, raising both the ceiling for coordination and the floor for failure. It wasn't just about playing your role, it was about sharing control of it. And at number 4, we have the Reliquary of Souls, a mid-raid boss in Black Temple, which was one of the earliest attempts at dramatically altering core gameplay mechanics mid-encounter.
Let me just check something real quick. Let me just check something. Okay.
Expansion. The fight was split into 3 distinct phases, each tied to one of the boss's essences: suffering, desire, and anger, and each one fundamentally changed how players interact with their own class mechanics. Phase 1 made all forms of regeneration useless. No mana, no energy, no rage. Players had to rely solely on what they entered with. Phase 2 reversed the problem by creating a damage reflection effect, punishing players who did too much too quickly. Phase 3 amped up the raid-wide damage and forced movement and positioning to become priority 1. This was the first fight that directly interfered with player resource generation on a macro scale. Most raid mechanics up to this point focus on positioning, interrupts, or ad control. Reliquary introduced what would be described as environmental debuffs applied to the raid's entire functionality. Later fights would borrow heavily from this design philosophy. General Vezax and Ulduar would also suppress mana regeneration entirely. Mythic Zanesh and Ny'alotha played with similar themes of resource denial and personal burden. Even Shadow Lord Ishkar's rotating Eye of Anzu was thematically a nod to unique phase toolkits. Reliquary of Souls broke the idea that raid encounters should be about perfecting a rotation. It asked, what if you had to abandon your usual toolkit entirely? It forced players to adapt not to the boss's damage, but to their own limits, a concept that would shape many of WoW's most difficult encounters. And at number 3, we have Darumu the Forgotten, who was encountered in the second half of Throne of Thunder, and is remembered most for one thing: the maze phase. But it's what this phase represents in terms of encounter design that earns it a place so high on this list. Darumu was the first boss to use a real-time visual obstruction puzzle as a primary fight mechanic. In the maze phase, the room filled with fog, and players had to position themselves precisely along narrow safe paths, revealed only by a thin beam of light emitted by the boss. Everyone else was blinded, and moving even slightly outside the correct line meant death. This wasn't just a dance mechanic, it was a vision test. No indicators on the ground, no voice alerts, just pure spatial awareness and tight coordination. The maze segment completely changed the tone of the fight. While the rest of the encounter was based on ad control and beam alignment, the maze turned the boss arena into a deadly logic puzzle. Players had to learn not just where to move, but how to visually interpret minimal information. This mechanic became a blueprint for later fights involving visual deception. Mythic Kel'Thuzad's ice paths, and especially Mythic...
Okay, this is interesting. Like a maze like you have to go through.
Melandris, with its high-speed avoidance sequences, all owe something to Darumu's design. Though originally infamous for its unclear visuals and steep learning curve, Darumu's maze was the first real attempt at using limited visibility as a mechanic, opening the door for Blizzard to embrace non-combat challenges inside combat encounters. And at number 2, we have the Lich King, the final boss of Icecrown Citadel, which is among the most iconic encounters in WoW's history. But beyond the cinematic significance and narrative payoff, the fight introduced a mechanic that would define modern encounter design: the intermission phase as a narrative device. The encounter opens with traditional mechanics: Valkyries abducting players, Defiles punishing poor positioning, and necrotic plagues as a spreading disease. But halfway through, the fight pauses. Arthas kills the entire raid in a scripted sequence before Tyrion intervenes, and you all get revived by the spirits inside Frostmourne. This was the first time an encounter used a full party wipe as a part of the encounter story. Rather than simply dealing damage or creating an enrage timer, the boss delivered a moment of narrative finality, and reversed it with lore-based mechanics. Later raids borrowed from this heavily. Gul'dan used similar scripted defeat moments in Nighthold. Sylvanas' phase transitions in Sanctum of Domination also leaned into cinematic storytelling as a gameplay structure, and Argus from Legion even just kind of copies the whole raid wipe mechanic and iterates on it. Mechanically speaking, Lich King also pioneered phase design that altered terrain itself. The transition to the Frozen Throne's edge, the shattering floor, and the need for raid-wide repositioning all became staples of future high-end fights. The Lich King redefined what a raid boss could be.
Yeah, the Lich King was really and is really quite the success story of how do you actually like make a raid boss feel like the ultimate threat, the ultimate enemy. And I think that like as much as like I won't talk about it right now, Blizzard really successfully made it so Arthas, the Lich King, became this ultimate threat, and the fight that we got to experience as players really reflected well on the identity of this antagonist, this enemy.
He was not just a gameplay challenge, but a set piece built to evoke a climax. It was the first time Blizzard fully integrated game mechanics, encounter phases, and narrative structure into a single cohesive experience. The Lich King is commonly mentioned in dev interviews as the inspiration for epic final fights going forward. And at number 1, we have Higan the Unclean, who was not...
Higan the Unclean, the first boss that learned you, teached you how to dance.
A final boss. He wasn't especially difficult in terms of raw damage or enrage timers. But in Naxxramas, both in its original classic version and its Wrath of the Lich King re-release, Higan changed everything by introducing a mechanic so foundational that it became part of WoW's design language, the dance phase. The fight centers around safe zones that shift across the platform in a repeating pattern. Stand in the wrong spot and you're instantly killed. What made this mechanic revolutionary was that it wasn't reaction-based in the traditional sense. It was memory-based. Players had to internalize and execute a movement sequence rather than responding to a warning. At the time, this kind of precise rhythmic movement wasn't expected in raids. Most fights involved standing still or executing rotations. Higan broke that mold. Success wasn't about numbers, it was about spacing, timing, and repetition. The dance mechanic became a template. Modern mythic fights like Anduin Wrynn or Raszageth borrowed heavily from the idea that movement, memory, and platform awareness are key to success. Higan didn't look flashy, he wasn't a final boss tier, but his encounter redefined what a raid mechanic could ask of players. It was the first time Blizzard used consistent, pattern-based movements as a core test, and it's never really stopped using this since.
Okay, this was really interesting. Like I said, if you want some good content, subscribe to Iramar Dex. This man is really a fan. This man is really cool, and yeah, give him some love, you know.
Today I'm playing Ninja Gaiden 4.
Okay, you must know I love AI generated work. I love AI generated art. I love AIs. AIs to me is the future, and I want to discover a little pearl I found. That is like some wow AI generated movie. So let's check it out. Wow. Oh my. Wow. The mecha bacon. Look at my girl Sylvana. Oh my, you're so beautiful. Wow, what the fuck? This is absolutely stunning. I saw what I wanted to see. Sylvanas and Jaina. Now, I'm just joking. I'm not joking though. But like, look at the Torah and what he looks like. The mecha bacon. The mecha bacon. Like, oh my, Undercity is just like looking completely sick. Kel'Thuzad, like everyone is here, like fucking like Torasan, like the Lich King, like the Ice Grand Citadel just looks like so dope. Damn. On this one, the AI actually took, I don't know if you know this. So AI is a feed on algorithm and it's a feed on like the global database to actually like create like AI art, right? They literally took like the AI choose the face of Kung Fu Panda, like of like the panda from Kung Fu Panda to represent the Pandaren. This, if you have seen Kung Fu Panda, like this is the face of the the panda from Kung Fu Panda. This is not a Pandaren. This is someone who pretends to be a Pandaren. He is technically a Pandaren. That's true. But like, this is the man from Kung Fu Panda. Do you want to know what happened after Kung Fu Panda? Well, he went back to Azeroth. Wow, the face of Illidan. God damn. God damn. Very rare. My girl Sylvanas, and you even get to see Sylvanas before she became a Banshee. Random Morgan. I think this is God damn, Anduin looks beautiful as well. And then Jaina. God damn. Is that the loon? Is that the loon? I think it is a loon. This is interesting. Anyway. AI generated content, give it a try, give it a chance. It is this good. It is this good if you want to have some fun. Let me just
Hello everyone. Hello everyone, this is your daily dose of internet. Hello everyone, this is your
Okay, let's watch some memes. Some chill memes.
What? Bitch.
What if it didn't make the noise?
What have you done? What have you... Oh my.
Oh no.
Don't woof. Woof.
Marty, be careful with that thing. What thing?
What the fuck? I think we have a visitor. Who is it? It's Mark the dog again. We gave him treats like 3 weeks ago. Now he keeps coming back. God damn it. This is cute. Oh, this is hella cute. What? Look at him.
Let me get it started. Baby, what the fuck?
Let's start with that first.
Never in the hood have I seen a thug ass cat. Oh!
Coconut. No. No. No.
Look at him.
No.
Look at him. Look at him. What a doggy. Grow a giant croc. Okay. What the fuck? If only life could be this simple for the Florida mana.
What we're going to show you here is the art of sheep shearing. The way we're doing it, still the same way we do it.
Don't look at me. Don't fucking look at me. Ooh, don't you do it. No, dude.
Wait, what? Is this a frog? It is a frog. What a gentleman. What a gentleman, this frog.
No, dude.
A gentleman with manners.
आजा डूब जाऊं तेरी आंखों के वो सन में
Wait. Wait, the dude is just like riding? No. The dude is riding at the speed? What the fuck? Like, so some people have like strange challenges to themselves. And man, like, ever heard about death? Like, just as a concept? No? Okay, well, if you didn't, like, no worries. No questions asked.
Oh my. Bye.
Goodbye, trampoline.
Оп, не получилось. Да не получится сегодня. Да проще ж так, встань. Оп, оп.
Revolutionary. Wow.
Oh, shit.
No. Not fucking during basketball. What the fuck? Idiot frog walks into a wall like the stupid amphibian he is. I mean, it's kind of mean, but like, it is objectively accurate. I'd say idiot rather than stupid, but like.
Don't you scratch my window. Oi.
Wanna fight? Actually, if you wanna know, like, actually, kangaroos are quite fucking dangerous. And they fucking beat you the fuck out. So in Australia, if you see a kangaroo, you should actually get the fuck away because it might beat you the fuck out. Like, can you believe it? Bare-handed? Like, it's just like a fucking MMA, the fucking the free fight out of the fuck out of you, you know? You know, and sometimes, you know, like, I tell myself I do stupid stuff, you know? Like, see people with tigers or lions, like, or bears, and I'm just like, well, you know, like, maybe I'm not the fucking, like, dumbest of the bunch.
It's so close to sinking. If that thing eats 3 more salmon, it's done for.
What the fuck?
Hi Sharks, my name is Jack Pinot. I'm the founder and CEO of Jack's Stands and Marketplaces, and I'm from Denver, Colorado. So my parents loaned me $1,000.
Are you serious? Are you serious? He's an idiot. He's a con artist. You. We're all out. You're an get the out of here. Oh! He's an idiot. He's a con artist. Kevin, don't feel bad. I don't feel bad.
What the fuck? This is the dumbest secret that like you can ever discover. Like I really want to see like them like doing this and actually like making someone discover the secret, you know, like kind of like leaving it there, make it, I don't know, saying mysterious chair, maybe something, and it is in it, and they keep like opening the stuff and it's a fucking like fucking vegetable, like, and then they're like, yeah, fuck you, like, and they're like, yeah, fuck me, I guess. What the fuck is this mystery about? What were you on when you did this? It's like, and that's the secret of life, fucking like the beauty of internet. No one knows. But if you find whatever the fuck like these people like, I don't know why start taking give me the name, because like visionaries, these people, like no clue how the fuck what the fuck, but like I want to experience like ethics for some time, just like being so careless, you know.
GameStop, this is Brian. How can I help you?
Isn't that a cat with its friend cat and another friend cat that are enjoying quite the cat moment? Spoiler, it is. It is. Yeah. Aren't they fucking adorable? They are. Spoiler, they are.
Hello everyone, this is your daily dose of internet. So this iguana can probably kill your dog. This company created...
Or it can become his best friend, like, you don't know this iguana. What do you know about this iguana? Huh? Huh? Maybe he can become his best friend. Maybe he can become like his employer. What do you know about this iguana, really?
This company created a club that allows disabled or elderly people to still play golf. The club has the ability to hit a golf ball over 200 yards.
This is cool.
When you're ready, you push down. Wow.
These people went out a hot air balloon to show off their ball juggling skills.
Like really, like this is the typical, like, you know, like it's a cool thing, but like maybe you don't have to go through this thing to show your skills, you know, like people believe you, you know, like.
You go for it, yeah, I'm rolling, mate. Let's do a headstone.
This is what an astronaut sees when they have to do repairs on the International Space Station.
Is this a dog? Oh no, this is a camping car. Alright.
I went over to my friend's house and I found a very curious squirrel.
And what's going on, little buddy?
NASA released data showing how ice in the Arctic Circle has disappeared over the years. The white ice is ice that is around all year long, and gray ice is ice that grows and shrinks depending on the season.
Yeah.
This is what a heartbeat looks like inside of a living snake.
Wow. Ooh. Wow. Damn. Oh, this is a cool animation. Wow.
That's in this video. Hopefully you learned something new, and I'll see you guys again very, very soon.
I'll learn that this fluffy thing is really like deserving the best. Alright. Alright, so thank you so much. I've been our time ends for now. I will see you later. As always, be toxic.